chosen by the Empress. Ryan Cole never imagined his quiet life on a remote mining station would change the entire galaxy. He was only a simple human engineer who worked long night shifts, tightened bolts, fixed broken pipes, and tried to stay away from trouble. For Ryan, every day was the same quiet routine. But that ordinary rhythm shattered the moment the alarms began to scream through the station's metallic halls. The floor vibrated under his feet as if something enormous had arrived outside. Ryan rushed to the observation deck with the other workers, expecting maybe a damaged cargo ship or a meteor passing too close. Instead, they saw something terrifying and beautiful at the same time. Thousands of silver ships hung outside the station like a sea of shining moons. Their polished hulls reflected the blue star nearby, making the darkness glow like crystal. No one spoke. No one even breathed. The ships were not human. Everyone knew their design. Everyone in the galaxy feared them. They belonged to the most powerful empire in known space, the Zaranth Empire. And if the Zaranth were here, it meant something serious, something dangerous, something life-changing. Ryan's heart thumped in his chest. The station commander shouted orders, telling everyone to move away from windows, hide, or prepare for evacuation. But before anyone could react, the largest ship opened its gates. A single beam of purple light shot forward and connected directly to the station's docking bay. It was a secure boarding tunnel used only by royalty and high command. "Why are they coming here?" one worker whispered with shaking hands. Ryan did not answer. He had no idea. He didn't even think the Empire knew this tiny mining station existed. Yet the royal guards of the Zaranth did not arrive by accident. They marched through the glowing tunnel in perfect formation, armored in silver plates that hummed with energy. Their eyes glowed blue like cold stars. Their presence filled the air with a crushing pressure that made humans step back instinctively. The commander tried to greet them, but the lead guard raised her hand sharply. "We are not here for negotiation," she said, her voice echoing like metal on stone. "We are here for a human." Everyone froze. A human? But who? Why? The guards spread through the hallway, scanning every terrified worker. Their devices beeped whenever they passed Ryan, but he didn't understand what that meant. He tried to hide behind a cargo crate, but one guard stopped right in front of him and spoke a single sentence that changed his life forever. "Found him," she said. "The Empress has chosen this one." Ryan felt the world collapse around him. "Chosen me for what?" he asked, his voice shaking. "There must be some mistake." But the guards surrounded him instantly, not with hostility, but with the kind of respect given to someone important, someone dangerous, someone valuable. Before he could argue, he was escorted into the royal tunnel. His co-workers stared with wide eyes as if he were walking into another universe. Maybe he was. When Ryan stepped into the royal flagship, he felt overwhelmed by the beauty inside. The walls were made of living metal that shifted like water, glowing with soft pink and blue light. Alien symbols floated in the air like tiny stars. The ship felt alive, warm, and ancient. It was nothing like human ships, which were cold, noisy, and mechanical. The guards led him through long, golden corridors until they reached the heart of the ship. A pair of massive doors opened silently, revealing a throne room so large it could hold a small city. At the far end sat the Empress of the Zaranth Empire herself. Charalyn Vera, ruler of 1,000,000 star systems, the most feared being in the galaxy and the most mysterious. She was tall, elegant, and radiant. Her skin glowed faintly like starlight. Her hair floated behind her like silver fire. And when her eyes met Ryan's, they were filled with something he never expected from an alien ruler. Warmth, curiosity, and something deeper. She rose from her throne and approached him slowly. Her steps were soft, almost graceful, yet every movement carried the weight of 1,000 worlds. Ryan felt like he should kneel, but his legs were frozen, not from fear, but from confusion. When she reached him, she raised her hand and gently touched his cheek as if she were touching something precious. Ryan's breath caught in his throat. She whispered a sentence that chilled him to the bone and heated his face at the same time. "You belong to me," she said softly. "I have chosen you as my mate." The guards bowed instantly. Ryan's heart nearly stopped. "Why me? I don't even know you," he stammered. The Empress smiled, a rare, soft smile that could start a war or stop one. "You showed courage when your own people left you behind," she said. "I have watched you for years, human. You risked your life for a child not of your species. You acted with honor when others acted with fear." Ryan blinked in shock. He had no idea she knew about that moment. He had no idea anyone knew. It had happened during a pirate attack 3 years ago. He had saved a small alien child hiding under broken machinery. He thought no one saw him. The Empress leaned closer, her voice a whisper of starlight. "You are the one I want, Ryan Cole. You will stand beside me as my mate." The room fell silent. The galaxy had changed. His life had changed, and Ryan realized something terrifying. He didn't have a choice.
The Empress's obsession. Ryan Cole stood frozen in the center of the throne room, unable to understand how his quiet life had led him to this moment. The Empress of the most feared alien empire had chosen him, a human engineer, as her mate. It sounded like a dream, or maybe a nightmare. He couldn't decide which. The Empress turned away from him and walked back to her throne, but she didn't sit. Instead, she waved her hand gently. The guards bowed and left the room silently. The giant doors closed behind them with a soft hum, leaving Ryan alone with the powerful ruler who seemed far too calm for someone making such a world-changing decision. "Come," she said, and her voice felt like velvet wrapped around steel. "We have much to discuss." Ryan swallowed hard and followed her. The throne room transformed as they walked. The walls shifted into soft colors, lavender, silver, and deep blue, reacting to the Empress's mood. Ryan didn't understand how the technology worked, but he felt the ship watching him, studying him, just like she was. They entered a smaller, more peaceful chamber filled with floating lights and glowing symbols. It looked like a living planetarium. The Empress motioned for him to sit on a cushion that felt warm and soft. He obeyed quietly, unsure what would happen next. Sherilyn studied him with eyes that held galaxies inside them. "You are wondering why you were chosen," she said. "Humans always question their own worth." Ryan nodded. "I don't understand any of this. I'm just me. I'm not special." The Empress tilted her head, curiosity sparkling in her gaze. "Humans never see their own strength," she said. "That is why your kind fascinates me." Ryan's heart pounded. "Why me? You said you watched me for years. How? Why?" he asked. The Empress raised her hand, and a glowing crystal floated between them. Inside it, Ryan saw memories. His memories, moments from Earth, from the mining station, from the day he saved the alien child during the pirate attack. Every detail was there, even small things he didn't remember anymore. "These are star memory crystals," she explained. "We use them to observe events across great distances. The day you saved the child, you triggered a signal in one of our ancient crystals. I saw your bravery, your compassion, your pain." Ryan looked away.
Embarrassed, "Anyone would save a child," he whispered. "No," the Empress said firmly. "Many beings choose safety for themselves. You chose danger. You chose to protect life that did not belong to your species." She stepped closer. The lights around the room brightened, responding to her emotions. "You are a rare kind of human, Ryan Cole, and I need someone like you." Ryan's chest tightened. "Need me for what? To rule with you? To be your mate?" The word felt heavy, unbelievable, impossible. The Empress smiled softly. "Yes," she said, "but not for the reasons you fear." She looked away for the first time, and Ryan sensed something unexpected. Loneliness. "Power is heavy, Ryan," she said quietly. "Millions obey me, yet I stand alone. My people fear me. Other empires want me dead, and my advisors see me only as a symbol." Her voice became softer, more fragile. "You are the first being in centuries who acted without fear or selfishness. You remind me that life can be more than duty and war." Ryan didn't know what to say. He wasn't ready to be anyone's symbol, especially not the mate of an empress. "I'm just human," he whispered. "Yes," she replied. "That is what makes you perfect." Before Ryan could respond, a loud alarm echoed through the palace chambers. Guards rushed inside with weapons glowing green. "Your Majesty," one shouted, "we've detected unauthorized movement near the humans' quarters." Ryan frowned. "But I don't have quarters here." The Empress's expression darkened. "You do now," she said, "and it seems someone does not approve." The guards opened a holographic screen, showing a shadowy figure sneaking into a room filled with gifts, clothing, and strange alien objects meant for a royal consort. The intruder was holding a weapon aimed at Ryan's bed. His new bed, apparently. Ryan's blood went cold. "Someone is trying to kill me," he whispered. "Not someone," the Empress replied, her voice cold as frozen stars. "Many." She raised her hand and the hologram vanished. Her eyes burned with fierce protectiveness. "There are nobles and rebels who fear humanity. They think humans are primitive, dangerous, uncontrollable." Ryan blinked. "Are we dangerous?" he asked. A small smile crossed her lips. "Yes," she said proudly, "and that is why I choose you." The guards returned moments later, dragging in the intruder, a noble general with silver markings on his armor. He looked furious and terrified at the same time. "Your Majesty," he spat, "you cannot bind yourself to a human. It will weaken the empire. Humans are primitive, emotional." The Empress lifted 2 fingers, and the general collapsed to his knees, gasping for air. Her voice cut through the room like a blade. "If any being harms my chosen mate," she said slowly, "I will erase their entire bloodline." The guards bowed, the room trembled, and even the walls dimmed in fear. Ryan stared at her, stunned. "You would do that? For me?" he asked. The Empress stepped toward him, her eyes softening again. "Yes," she said gently, "because you are not just a human to me, Ryan Cole. You are the one I choose." Ryan felt a strange warmth in his chest, mixed with fear, mixed with confusion, mixed with something he could not name. She was dangerous, powerful, and unpredictable, but she was also sincere, and her sincerity was more terrifying than her power. For the first time since being taken from the station, Ryan realized something important. He wasn't the prisoner here. He was the center of a cosmic storm, and every empire would soon know his name.
A war for the human groom. Ryan Cole woke the next morning inside a room that looked nothing like a human bedroom. The walls shimmered with soft violet light. The air smelled faintly of sweet flowers he'd never seen before, and the bed felt like it was made of warm clouds instead of fabric. He lay still for a moment, trying to understand how his life had changed so quickly. Yesterday, he was repairing broken oxygen lines. Today, he was the chosen mate of the alien Empress. He didn't feel powerful. He didn't feel special. He felt trapped in a world he didn't understand. When he stepped out of the room, two guards bowed instantly. Their eyes glowed like bright lanterns, and their armor shifted colors depending on their emotions. Ryan couldn't tell if they respected him or feared him. "The Empress is waiting," one said, her voice calm. Ryan followed them through long corridors lined with floating crystals that projected images of distant galaxies. Every surface responded to movement. The palace felt alive, and every moment reminded him that he didn't belong here. When the doors opened, he found the Empress standing in front of a giant holographic map of the galaxy. Her silver hair moved like waves of light behind her. Her expression was sharp and controlled, but her eyes softened when they met his. "Good morning, Ryan," she said. "I hope you slept peacefully." Ryan swallowed. "I tried." She approached him and placed a hand on his shoulder. Her touch was gentle, but the room itself seemed to vibrate with power. She said, "I sense fear in you. Tell me what troubles your heart." Ryan hesitated. "Everything," he admitted. "This place, the danger, the assassination attempt, your people wanting me dead." The Empress sighed, a sound almost too human. "You are safe with me," she promised, "but the galaxy does not accept change easily." Before she could explain further, an alarm echoed through the chamber. A guard rushed inside. "Your Majesty," he said breathlessly, "a message from the Outer Council. They demanded immediate audience. It concerns the human." Ryan felt his stomach twist. The Empress nodded, her expression turning icy. "Put it through." A huge hologram flickered into existence, a meeting room filled with alien leaders from different star systems. Their expressions ranged from disgust to fear to anger. One elder with emerald skin pointed at Ryan. "Your Majesty," he said sharply, "is it true you have chosen a human as your mate?" Sherilyn raised her chin. "Yes." The entire council erupted in anger, shouting over one another. Ryan didn't understand the alien words, but he understood the tone. They hated this. They hated him. Finally, the council leader raised a hand, silencing everyone. She spoke slowly, choosing her words with care. "A human mate threatens the balance of power," she said. "Humans are unpredictable, dangerous, emotional." Ryan blinked. Why did every alien describe humans the same way? Another council member added, "If the Empress binds herself to a human, she might favor Earth. Humans might gain royal influence, and our ancient traditions will collapse." Then came the final blow, spoken by a tall creature with a fractured blue skull. "We cannot allow this union," he declared. "If the Empress does not cancel her claim on the human, we will consider her reign unstable." Ryan felt his throat tighten. He didn't want to cause a galaxy-wide crisis. "Maybe I should," he started, but the Empress lifted her hand, silencing him instantly. Her voice was calm, but carried a terrifying edge. "You dare question my decisions?" she said to the council. "You forget who commands the stars." The map behind her shifted, showing the massive size of her empire. The room darkened, filled with her growing power. "You speak of tradition, but tradition never saved lives, never brought peace, never ended wars." She stepped forward, her presence overwhelming. "You speak of tradition, but tradition never saved lives, never brought peace, never ended wars. If a single council threatens my chosen mate, then I will tear down the council itself." Gasps filled the hologram. "Is that a declaration of war?" someone asked nervously. "It is a promise," she replied. The hologram vanished, leaving silence behind. Ryan looked at her with shock. "You're willing to start a war over me?" he whispered. The Empress turned to him, her expression soft again. "I will protect what is mine," she said, "but I do not wish for war." Ryan rubbed his forehead. "Then you need to stop threatening half the galaxy." She laughed softly, a sound so rare that the guards stared in surprise. "You speak to me like no one else. That is why I chose you." Before Ryan could respond, the palace shook violently. Lights flickered, alarms blared again. A guard rushed in with panic on her face. "Rebel fleet approaching!" she shouted. "They're demanding me surrender the human, or they will attack." Ryan felt the blood drain from his face. The Empress's eyes burned like twin suns. "Prepare the fleet," she ordered. "No one threatens him." Ryan grabbed her arm. "Wait, Sherilyn, if this is about me, maybe I can reason with them." "No," she said sharply. "Rebels do not listen. They only seek power." The screen in the room activated again, showing dozens of rebel ships surrounding the palace world. Their weapons glowed red, aimed directly at them. A rebel commander appeared on the hologram, his voice cold. "Empress, you have fallen to human corruption. Surrender the human, and we will spare your world." Ryan stepped forward before he realized what he was doing. "I'm not a threat," he said. "I don't want anyone dying because of me." The rebel commander laughed. "Human, you are already the cause of death. The Empress will burn the galaxy for you." Ryan's heart twisted. He knew it was true. Sherilyn's loyalty was too powerful, too absolute. Suddenly, the Empress laid a hand on his chest. "Stay behind me," she said. "You will see why rebels fear my name." The windows of the command chamber opened, revealing the sky. The Empress stepped forward, her body glowing brighter and brighter until she looked like living starlight. Her voice echoed through the air. "You want war? Then face the Empress of Stars." Her entire fleet ignited their engines, ready for battle. Ryan felt fear rise in his chest, but he also felt something else, something terrifying. He was becoming part of this war, and every empire in the galaxy was watching him.
Human heart, alien throne. The sky above the palace world burned with the light of hundreds of engines. Rebel ships filled the horizon like a storm of metal wings. Their weapons glowed red, ready to destroy anything in their path. Ryan Cole stood beside the Empress, feeling the weight of a galaxy pressing down on his shoulders. He was only human, yet somehow he had become the center of a conflict far bigger than anything he could imagine. The Empress raised her hands, her eyes shimmering like twin stars. Her power pulsed through the air, warping it with radiant energy. The rebel ships hesitated, shaken by her presence alone. Ryan had seen her angry before, but this was different. This was the wrath of a ruler who had been pushed too far. The palace guards lined the walls, kneeling with weapons lowered. They trusted their Empress completely. Ryan felt small, out of place, overwhelmed. He didn't belong in this world of ancient powers and cosmic empires. Yet Sherilyn chose him, and that choice was tearing the galaxy apart. A deep hum resonated through the palace as the Empress's fleet positioned itself. Dozens of royal ships rose from the surface, forming a defensive barrier around her world. The sky became a battlefield, waiting for a spark. "Your Majesty," Ryan said, trying to steady his voice, "if they attack, people will die because of me." Sherilyn turned to him slowly, her eyes shimmering like twin stars. Her power pulsed through the air, warping it with radiant energy. The rebel ships hesitated, shaken by her presence alone. Ryan had seen her angry before, but this was different. This was the wrath of a ruler who had been pushed too far. The palace guards lined the walls, kneeling with weapons lowered. They trusted their Empress completely.
Ryan felt small, out of place, overwhelmed. He didn't belong in this world of ancient powers and cosmic empires, yet Charlene chose him. And that choice was tearing the galaxy apart. A deep hum resonated through the palace as the Empress's fleet positioned itself. Dozens of royal ships rose from the surface, forming a defensive barrier around her world. The sky became a battlefield, waiting for a spark. "Your Majesty," Ryan said, trying to steady his voice, "if they attack, people will die because of me." Charlene turned to him slowly, her eyes brightening as she looked into his eyes. "Ryan," she said gently, "I do not fight because of you. I fight because no one threatens what I love." The word love hit Ryan harder than any explosion could. He didn't know how to respond. He wasn't ready for that kind of responsibility. He wasn't ready for war, for politics, for power. He was barely ready to speak without shaking. The rebel commander's voice echoed through the holographic sky once more. "Empress, this is your last warning. Surrender the human or your throne will fall." Charlene stepped forward, her silver hair floating behind her like a comet's tail. "If my throne must burn to protect him, then let it burn." The rebels fired. Ryan gasped as red beams shot toward the palace. The royal fleet intercepted them, explosions lighting up the sky like violent stars. The battle erupted instantly. Ships clashed, lasers cut through the atmosphere, debris fell like burning meteors. The world shook under the force of war. Ryan watched in horror. "This is insane," he whispered. "I never wanted any of this." The Empress placed her hand on his chest, calming his panic. "War chose you long before I did," she said softly. "Your heart changed the course of fate." Ryan didn't understand what that meant, but there was no time to ask. A guard rushed into the command balcony, breathing hard. "Your Majesty," she shouted, "we have captured one of the rebel agents inside the palace. He says he wants to speak to the human." Ryan blinked. "To me?" The Empress's eyes narrowed. "Bring him." Two guards dragged a wounded alien inside. His armor was cracked, his face bruised, but his eyes burned with determination. When he saw Ryan, he spat weakly. "Human," he said, "you must leave her. If you stay, she will destroy everything in your name." Ryan stepped back, shaken. "I'm not asking for destruction." The rebel laughed bitterly. "You don't need to ask. Humans are chaos. When a human touches destiny, empires collapse. We fight to prevent your influence from spreading." Ryan felt cold. "I'm not special," he said again, his voice unsteady. But the rebel shook his head. "You are to her." The Empress's expression darkened. "Enough," she said. "Take him away." The rebel screamed as he was dragged out. "Leave her, human, before the galaxy burns for you." The words echoed in Ryan's mind long after the doors closed. The Empress touched his shoulder. "Do not listen to their fears," she said. "Humans have always been misunderstood." Ryan forced himself to breathe. "Charlene, I can't let people die for me." She stepped closer, her voice softer. "You think this war is about you," she whispered, "but it is not. It is about control, power, fear. They use you as an excuse." "Still," Ryan said, "I don't want to be the reason anyone fights." The Empress's eyes softened. "Then fight with me. Stand at my side. Let them see that you are not a threat, but a partner." Ryan stared at her, shocked. "Partner?" "Yes," she said. "Not my prisoner, not my symbol, but someone who chooses to stand with me." Ryan didn't know what was stronger, his fear or the strange warmth growing in his chest. He looked out at the burning sky, the battle raging, the palace trembling. The Empresses watched him carefully, waiting, hoping. "I don't understand your world," Ryan said quietly. "I don't know your politics, your enemies, your traditions. I don't know how to be anything here." She reached for his hand, her touch gentle and steady. "You only need to be yourself," she said. "A human heart is stronger than 1,000 warships." Before Ryan could respond, the palace lights flickered violently. Another explosion boomed outside. A guard rushed in, panic written across her face. "Your Majesty," she shouted, "the rebels have breached the lower halls. They're trying to reach the human." Ryan's blood ran cold. The Empress's energy flared like a nova. "Not while I live," she said, her voice shaking the very walls. She looked at Ryan, her expression fierce and protective. "Stay close to me," she commanded. "The rebels think humans are weak. Today, they will learn the truth." Ryan took a deep breath and nodded. For the first time, he did not feel like a victim. He felt like someone with a purpose, someone who mattered, someone who could change the fate of an empire. The Empress stepped forward, her glow intensifying as the palace shook with approaching danger. And Ryan followed, ready or not, into the heart of a war he never asked for, but could no longer escape.
Mate of the Empress. The lower halls of the palace shook as explosions echoed through the ancient structure. Dust drifted from the ceilings, lights flickered, and distant screams filled the air. Ryan Cole stayed close behind the Empress as she moved with supernatural grace. Her glowing aura lit the dark corridors as if she carried a star inside her. Every guard they passed bowed quickly, terrified but loyal, ready to give their lives for her. Ryan's heart pounded. He had never faced a battlefield, never imagined he would walk into one, especially not beside the most powerful being in the galaxy. Yet here he was, running through golden halls with rebels closing in, and somehow, instead of collapsing in fear, he felt something else inside him, a growing fire, a strange courage he had never known. "Why are they after me?" Ryan whispered breathlessly as they hurried down a grand staircase. The Empress glanced back, her silver eyes bright with determination. "You are the symbol they fear," she said. "If they remove you, they believe I will return to being the cold ruler they can control." Ryan swallowed. "But you were never cold," she smiled gently. "You saw what they never cared to see." Before he could respond, a large blast shook the hall. The guards raised their weapons as shadows rushed forward. Rebels dressed in dark armor with glowing red visors. They attacked with vicious precision. The Empress stepped in front of Ryan, her aura exploding outward like a cosmic storm. With a single wave of her hand, she sent a burst of energy that pushed the rebels back, slamming them against the walls. The guards finished the fight quickly, but more rebels poured in behind them. Ryan felt adrenaline surge through him. "We can't keep running," he said. "We need to stop them at the source." The Empress nodded proudly. "You think like a warrior," she said. "Follow me." They rushed toward the central chamber, where the palace connected to the capital city. But as the doors opened, Ryan froze in shock. The entire capital was burning. Red streaks from rebel ships rained down like fire, buildings collapsed in the distance, and alien civilians fled through the streets while royal guards tried to protect them. The rebellion hadn't just attacked the palace, they attacked the whole world. Ryan felt guilt crash through him. "This is because of me," he whispered. The Empress turned to him sharply. "No," she said. "This is because they could not accept change. You are not the reason. You are only the excuse they used." Her voice softened. "Do not carry a burden that is not yours." A massive blast shook the balcony behind them. The main rebel commander appeared flanked by elite soldiers. His armor was black as obsidian, and his face was sharp with fury. "Empress," he growled, "end this madness. Give us the human or we finish the job." The Empress stepped forward slowly, her power crackling through the air. "She dare bring war to my people?" she demanded. "All because you fear one human?" "You will weaken you," the commander shouted. "You will lose focus, lose strength, lose loyalty." Ryan stepped beside her, trembling but determined. "Maybe she doesn't need to be feared. Maybe she needs to be understood," he said loudly. The commander laughed cruelly. "Humans speak as if they know anything about power." Ryan took a breath. "I don't know power," he admitted, "but I know empathy. I know sacrifice. I know what it means to protect someone."
She doesn't want war. You created this war because you are afraid of losing control." For a moment, the commander hesitated, uncrowned by the unexpected courage in Ryan's voice. But then rage twisted his face again. "I will kill you myself," he roared. He charged forward, blade glowing with red energy. The Empress reacted instantly, a storm of silver light wrapping around her. She met his blade with her bare hand, catching it midair. The ground cracked beneath her feet from the impact. Her eyes burned with pure fury. "You will not touch him," she said, her voice echoing like thunder. With a burst of light, she shattered the commander's weapon, sending shards spiraling through the air. The rebels retreated in shock. But she wasn't finished. Her power erupted outward like a supernova, knocking every enemy soldier unconscious in seconds. Ryan shielded his eyes from the blinding glow. When the light faded, silence fell across the battlefield. The rebellion was defeated. The Empress took a trembling breath, her glow softening until she looked almost human again. She turned toward Ryan, her expression gentle and relieved. "It is over," she whispered, "because you stood with me." Ryan stepped closer, his heart pounding. "I'm just a human," he said softly, "but you make me feel braver than I am." She reached out and took his hand, her fingers warm against his. "You make me feel human, and I have not felt that in centuries." Guards began to gather, kneeling before their Empress. The nobles arrived next, bowing their heads in shame and awe. They had seen her unleash unimaginable power, and they had seen her protect a human with all of it. Charlene lifted Ryan's hand into the air, her voice strong and steady. "This human stood unshaken beside your Empress. He is no threat. He is my chosen mate, and with him I will build a new future." The crowd bowed deeply, accepting him. Ryan's chest tightened with emotion. He turned to the Empress. "Charlene, do you still want me at your side?" he asked quietly. "After all this?" She smiled, a soft, breathtaking smile that warmed his entire soul. "More than ever," she whispered. "Allow me to finish what destiny began." She lifted a small, glowing circlet, shaped like two intertwined stars, and gently placed it on Ryan's head. The lights around them dimmed, as if the galaxy bowed with them. "You are no longer alone," she whispered, "and neither am I." Ryan exhaled slowly, feeling the weight of fear leave him, replaced by something deeper, stronger, more certain. He squeezed her hand, and she squeezed back, two worlds united by choice, not force. The war ended, the rebellion defeated, the galaxy watching, and in the center of it all stood a human engineer and an alien Empress, ready to shape a new era together. Their story had only just begun.